Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. In this video, I'm going to ask how Trump's rhetoric contributed to the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. So, to remind you, Jamal Khashoggi was a Saudi Arabian journalist who had worked for the royal family, and he had an acrimonious split with them about 3 years ago and became a dissident journalist, mainly living in the United States, where he was a legal resident, writing for the Washington Post. And he was exposing the corruption and the despotism of this terrible regime in Saudi Arabia, which has made a few steps forward in recent years, but is still indiscriminately bombing civilians in Yemen and so on. So Trump is a sworn enemy of the free media. As we know that Trump mass produces lies himself, several lies every day on the record, and the Washington Post in particular has printed lists of thousands of lies he's taken since he assumed the presidency. So no wonder that he finds a kindred spirit in Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, who is king in all but name over there, since his father is ailing, King Salman. So we have a lot of BS from MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. So Jamal Khashoggi, he was playing with fire when he went abroad, and he washed the Saudi dirty secrets in public, said what was really going on, and the Saudi Arabian government considers that punishable by death without trial. Telling the truth, you'd be killed. So he was sailing very close to the wind for some time, which is not to say that Khashoggi deserved it. Absolutely not. You do something dangerous, somebody kills you, that's their fault for killing you. You were perhaps unwise to do it, but you're not morally at fault. He's a victim here. So the Saudi Arabian government were confident that Trump would take the side of murderers against their victims. And Trump has previous. As he said himself, he fell in love with Kim Jong-un, perhaps the most viciously and barbarically oppressive tyrant in the world. And Trump loves him, which is in marked contrast to Trump's outright contempt and hostility towards the Prime Ministers of Canada, the United Kingdom, and so on. So Trump is always accusing the media of fake news, unless it's Fox, but he produces fake news more than anybody else, he and his shills. So it's projection. Accuse your opponent of your own worst vices. So it's the big lie theory. People wouldn't have the impudence to tell such a flagrant lie, so the public assumes. Trump can suggest that no Democrat voted for his bill to deal with the opioid crisis, when in fact loads of Democrats in the Senate, every Democrat in the Senate voted for it, and all but one Republican. So he can tell the most barefaced lies, arrant lies, things that could instantly be disproved, but he goes on and does it anyway, and it doesn't give his supporters pause for thought, who are that malevolent, that willfully blind, that moronic in some cases. And do you think these Christian fundamentalists say that we're oh so moral? They would hold them to high ethical standards, but oh no, he can tell outright lies non-stop, and they forgive him. You never apologize. There's no repentance. So enemies of the people, that's what Trump labels journalists who perform their duty, who inform the public, and he says they're enemies of the people. Now, what happens to enemies of the people? They get killed. That's tantamount to calling them a traitor. So words lead to action, which is why they're so important. He's incited violence against people at his rallies before. Way back in 2016, when he's campaigning, people were assaulted. He said, go on, they should be carried out in stretchers. I'll pay the legal fees. Seriously, guys. And I go slack-jawed at the fact that he's not been in prison for this already, for his many outright and utterly blatant frauds, such as the so-called Trump University, which was not a university. People get sent to prison in the United States for years for trifling offences, for possession of illegal substances. But if you're a white billionaire, you can commit many large-scale crimes and never have your collar felt. It's jaw-dropping. So Trump loves state terrorism, which is why he sings the praises of this viciously cruel regime in North Korea. And despite appealing to the basest anti-Muslim prejudice, he will also embrace the King of Saudi Arabia, who rules the most Islamic extremist state in the world, whose government has funded the likes of ISIS and so on, and the al-Nusra Front up in Syria. And in fairness, the United States and the United Kingdom have also helped some of the rebels in Syria, or terrorists as many call them. So the Saudi government couldn't get its story straight about Khashoggi, which is yet more proof that they're blatantly lying, claiming that he left the embassy. They lied and lied enough that for about a fortnight, then that he was killed during the interrogation, then that he was killed during a fight. So he goes in there, it's 1 versus 15. Is he going to start a fight? Are you out of your mind? Some of these guys with a Prince's security detail, as in very athletic, muscular young men, a chubby 60-year-old is not going to start throwing punches at them. If there was any so-called fight, that might have him being resisting, being tortured, or trying to run out of there. And without details, how exactly do you kill him? You punched him, you strangled him, what? So the Saudi Arabians keep changing their story. And then there was the Saudi Arabian foreign minister saying that the men who killed him were exceeding the authority which they had. Oh, so they had some authority to beat him up, to torture him, but not to actually kill him. And then the foreign minister said, these things unfortunately happen in the passive voice. What, like it rains, like wind blows. Is a natural event, as in there's no human agency? No, obviously agents of the Saudi Arabian state deliberately did this. They killed him to silence him, to intimidate anyone else who would dare speak out against what MBS is doing. Now, to give him his due, MBS has made a few improvements. He's allowed women to drive. Woohoo! He's brought the country forward into the 20th century, just like the other 190 countries in the world. Or you know what? He allows people to go to the cinema. My God, what an angel. Okay, these should be the most fundamental human rights, something as basic as being allowed to watch films, and we're supposed to applaud him. All right, it shows you just how terribly unfree it was beforehand. But, you know, Trump has got some indirect responsibility for this, because MBS must have concluded that as he's buddies with Trump, as he got financial ties, that Trump would give him a pass, would say nothing about this. You know, if Khashoggi had been an American citizen, would that have made any difference to Trump? Perhaps a little. And, you know, Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, is over there with MBS very regularly. So really it's all about family. That's the way where they would see it. Not about rule of law, not about standards or objectivity. It's just about personal relationship. It's entirely transactional. There are no ethics here. There are people that have no rights. It's all run by fiat, whatever the king wants. So it's dispiriting, and we probably haven't seen the last such crime.